Turn around 180 degrees and move 4 feet forward to a third life-size cutout mounted on the wall. It features a military man riding atop a horse. He wears a green wool jacket with black cuffs and brass buttons, tan pants, a frilly white shirt, and a black bear fur hat with a black feather plume, and brandishes a saber. He appears against a 6-foot square black and white photographic wall mural of a grassy landscape surrounded by trees. An excerpt from one of Dr. Christine R. Swagger's books is on the wall to the right of the cutout and reads, "They say that Tarleton's in the Highlands and his British troops are near. There'll be blood shed in the meadows when Bloody Ban gets here. With his troopers riding swiftly, their sabers flashing high, Bloody Ban will give no quarter. Those who can't escape will die." Note that 15 feet to your left is a metal door hinged on the right. This door leads into the main room of the museum, which we will enter on the other side of the lobby. 6 feet to the right of the cutout, a horizontal flip panel mounted 3 feet high on a wooden rail sits in front of a 4-foot wide glass wall, which abuts the vestibule of a second set of glass and metal entry doors, which lead to the battlefield trail walk at the right. This panel tells us the story of Banastre Tarleton, 1754 to 1833. Text on one side of the panel reads, "Born to a wealthy merchant family in Liverpool, England in 1754, Banastre Tarleton was a child of privilege. He attended Oxford at 17, and after 2 years enrolled in law school, which he never completed. When he was 19, his father died, leaving him a modest fortune, which he burned through in less than a year. In debt and without prospects for employment, his mother bought him a commission in the king's cavalry. Ambitious and well-suited for military life, he volunteered for service in America in 1776. Moving quickly up the ranks, he gained an independent command before the age of 24, a spectacular feat in the tradition-bound British Army. By the time Lord Cornwallis sent him off in pursuit of Morgan, Tarleton was a legend among both the British and American forces. After his defeat at Cowpens, he continued to command his Legion cavalry, but never with so large a force. When the British surrendered, Tarleton returned to England in 1782. He died in 1833, having served 7 terms in Parliament. Text on the other side of the panel reads, "Few British soldiers were as hated by American patriots as the dashing young dragoon they called Bloody Tarleton. Tarleton skillfully commanded the British Legion, a fast-moving unit comprised of infantry and mounted troops. After the fall of Charleston, he scored some brilliant victories in destroying the remnants of organized patriot resistance. These successes heightened his reputation for ruthlessness. After his bloody victory at the Battle of Waxhaws on May 29, 1780, patriots cynically used the term Tarleton's Quarter to mean that no mercy or clemency would be shown to the enemy. Turn around 180 degrees and move 15 feet forward on a slight angle to the right. Turn right just past the triangular Loyalist pillar and move another 8 feet forward. Then turn right to face the front panel of the second triangular Patriot pillar. Text at the top of one side of the panel reads, "Join the Patriots." You will be fighting alongside 800 men under Brigadier General Daniel Morgan and his loyal band of Continentals and militia. Above a large gray arrow pointing to the left, text in the middle of the panel continues, "Join the fight for freedom. Proceed to your left." A quotation from the memoir of Major Thomas Young, 1764 to 1848, follows below. I was more perfectly convinced of General Morgan's qualifications to command militia than I had ever been. He went among the volunteers, helped them fix their swords, joked with them about their sweethearts, told them to keep in good spirits, and the day would be ours. Rotating the panel, text at the top of the other side reads, "Join our side," over an 18-inch square replica of Colonel William Washington's Eutaw Springs flag. Believed to have been carried by Colonel Washington in his encounters with Tarleton, legend says the flag was hastily made by Washington's sweetheart from a damask back of a chair. It depicts tree branches in a sideways U opening to the right against the scarlet field. Additional slogans below the flag on the panel read, "This young country needs you. Secure and defend your personal freedoms. Fight for the right to choose your own leaders. Stop paying taxes to England. Defend your home and state against British occupation." Move around this pillar to the left to come to the second face of this three-sided pillar, showing a life-size painting of a Revolutionary War militiaman wearing a long, fringed linen hunting coat, holding a shoulder-high rifle as he takes a drink from his canteen. An audio wand on a 4-foot-long cable hangs on the right side of the panel, about 3 feet high. Lift the wand to listen to what life was like for a Revolutionary War soldier and militiaman. Continue to the left around this pillar to come to the third panel with a life-size depiction of an African-American man. He's dressed in a green vest under a long, heavy red wool overcoat with metal buttons on the cuffs and front. He wears a black kerchief, a simple, narrow-brimmed, floppy black hat, and carries a long rifle in his hands. Text reads, African Americans served on both sides during the Revolutionary War. Often their choice to join one side or the other was made based on which side offered them freedom. In an effort to bolster their ranks, the British actively recruited slaves belonging to patriots by offering them freedom. However, they returned runaway slaves belonging to loyalists to their masters. Turn right and move 6 feet on a slight angle to the right to come to a life-size wooden cutout of a man dressed in a long blue wool coat, tattered at the bottom, with green cuffs with metal buttons, a red and white kerchief, a tattered, floppy brown leather hat, and tan knee breeches with buckles just below the knee. A bedroll and canteen are slung across his back, and he carries a 4-foot-long musket pointed up and to the left. This cutout depicts a militiaman who fought with the Patriots. 3 feet to the left of the cutout is an 18-inch wide by 12-inch tall rectangular rotating text panel mounted horizontally on a smooth, curved wooden wall with narrow vertical slats. Text on one side of the panel reads, Militiaman. Flipping the panel over, text continues, Before the Revolutionary War, militia served as a peacekeeping force that could be gathered quickly and for short periods to defend local communities. Recruited from local farmers and townspeople, they provided a much-needed support to the Continentals. Serving in their own clothes and with their own horses, Morgan's militia were a tough and experienced group of soldiers. Many had already served in the Continental Army in Virginia under Major Francis Triplett. Others were recruits from Georgia and the Carolinas, led by Colonel Andrew Pickens. Continue 3 feet to the left to another life-sized cutout of a regular military Continental soldier dressed in a long blue wool coat with red-colored cuffs. His lapels have metal buttons, his white pants have patches on the knees, and he wears a tan vest over an open-collar white shirt. He wears a black tri-corner hat with a black bow and holds a 4-foot-long musket in his right hand. 3 feet to the left of this cutout is another rotating text panel mounted on the wooden wall. It tells us that this soldier is one of the Continentals. Flipping the panel, text continues. With Lieutenant Colonel John Eager Howard as their commander, the mixed battalion of Maryland and Delaware Continentals fought with great courage. The Maryland Continentals were one of the few regiments to fight in both the Northern and Southern campaigns. The Delaware Continentals were known as one of the elite light infantry units in the Southern Army. Hanging 10 feet overhead and spaced evenly above these cutouts are 3 blue banners suspended on wires from the ceiling that display quotes from various Patriot generals. To listen to the text of these quotes, please press pause on your audio player, followed by 202. Turn around 180 degrees and move 6 feet forward to a third wooden cutout mounted on the wall. It depicts a man riding atop a horse. He wears a long blue wool coat, tan pants with a tan vest and jacket over a white shirt, and a black hat with the front and back brims folded up. The cutout is mounted in front of a 6-foot square black and white photographic wall mural of a leaf-strewn forested landscape. An excerpt from a book by Dr. Christine R. Swagger on the wall to the left of the cutout reads, "Can't you hear your country call you? Come to the Cowpens," is the cry. Morgan needs your brave militia, else his flying army die. Andrew Pickens at the Cowpens, and Continentals will be there. Meet Daniel at the Cowpens, that brave old wagoneer. There'll be slaughter in the Highlands if Daniel Morgan fails. The Carolinas will be lost if bloody Tarleton prevails. For the sake of wives and daughters, take rifle, shot, and powder. Mount your horse and ride toward the calls which echo louder. Come to the Cowpens. Come to the Cowpens. Come to the Cowpens. 6 feet to the left of the cutout is another horizontally mounted rotating text panel mounted on a wooden rail 3 feet high in front of a 4-foot wide glass wall that abuts the museum entrance vestibule at the left. The panel tells us the writer is Daniel Morgan, 1736 to 1802. Text on one side of the panel reads, "Born in New Jersey in 1736, he made his home on the Virginia frontier near Winchester. He was a teamster as a young man, and this occupation earned him the nickname the Old Wagoneer. During the French and Indian War, he hauled freight for Major General Edward Braddock's army and helped evacuate the wounded after Braddock's disastrous defeat in 1755. In the years before the Revolution, Morgan settled as a farmer and fought as a lieutenant in several Indian wars. After the war, he increased his land holdings near Winchester, and at age 58, commanded militia troops during the Whiskey Rebellion. He was elected to the U.S. Congress in 1797. He died in 1802. Text continues on the flip side of the panel. This remarkable man, by all accounts a coarse frontiersman, had major roles in 4 epic events of the American Revolution. In 1775, he recruited a company of Virginia riflemen and led them on the Bee Line March to Boston, covering over 600 miles in 23 days. He marched with Benedict Arnold to attack Quebec and was captured when the attack failed. At Saratoga, Morgan and his riflemen played a vital role in the defeat and surrender of Burgoyne's army. At Cowpens, with his first independent command, Morgan devised unique tactics for employing his frontiersman militia. To continue to the next exhibit, turn right and move 15 feet to an 8-foot-tall door hinged at the left and opening from a single door handle at the right that leads into the main museum area. Note that the door may be closed to accommodate an 18-minute film which may be playing at the top of each hour. The film is audio described. Please see a park ranger for assistance. Move 20 feet through the door, down a 6-foot wide hallway, past a pair of wooden double doors on the left. You can begin the audio description for the next section of our tour, The Patriot Army, by pressing 300 on your